All right, welcome in, you guys. You are listening to Andrea with From Mrs. to Ms. This week, we have someone special with us. We have Terry Tatiosian visiting us today here at From Mrs. to Ms. Hi, Terry. How are you?
Hello, Andrea. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're here. So, for you guys that don't know her too well, she's a midlife transformation coach, a wellness entrepreneur, and the founder of Thor, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. A wellness retreat and coaching brand for women over 40. At age 42, Terry shed 80 plus pounds, overcame emotional eating, and rewrote her life script, all while navigating menopause, motherhood, and entrepreneurship. A former tech founder with 2 decades in startups, Terry now dedicates herself to helping women reclaim vitality, strength, and purpose. She holds certifications in nutrition, hormones, and emotional eating, and offers retreats, coaching, and community designed to support women in their prime. I love all of
Thank
this.
you
This
so
is right up
much.
our alley. Very exciting. So, okay, let's start at the beginning with your story. What transpired that led you to this place of transformation, helping women 40 plus reclaim their health? How did this all get started?
Yes, so all the things you just read out were
Mm.
happening in real time, right? And so I
Hmm.
had a busy business. Running a company is a full time, more than full time. It's almost like three jobs at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah,
You have
absolutely.
first shift, second shift, third shift, and you got fourth shift at home with family. And so there really was no time. I
Hmm.
would just live and just do the things that most of us are doing when we're overwhelmed, overstressed. Um,
Mm.
there's really no time to take care of ourselves or spend any time in self-care in any way, in mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, or spiritually. And so, it all piles up, and then add pregnancies and things like that. It all accumulates,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
eventually you find yourself 40 years old, 80 pounds overweight, not knowing what to
Hmm.
do, looking for answers online. And all the diets are very restrictive. They are not really meant to be lifestyles. They're not sustainable, but you do
Hmm.
them. You try to
Hmm.
do what's out there, what the media says, and you end up, instead of hitting your goal, you end up losing a little bit and then gaining it right back, plus some,
Yeah.
and then you end up in that vicious cycle over and over and over again. And then perimenopause hits you.
Ah.
Everything just woo
Yeah.
goes on a new level.
Yeah. Now, how old were you when you went into perimenopause? Do you remember when you kind of
Well,
recognized?
unbeknownst to me, I was in peri at 37 and out of it completely
Wow.
by 42.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, and I'm asking that because I have another podcast called Menopause Love Lounge, and we are talking all about perimenopause, menopause, and post. And that is, I think, the biggest misconception is people think perimenopause isn't going to come till later in the 40s, going into the 50s, and we're finding out that it's starting so much earlier. And I am shocked at like how many women have no idea what's going on with their bodies. There's not a lot of answers out there. Doctors don't seem to know. It's a very hard struggling time right now with all of it. So yeah, adding that on to everything else you were going through, that's a tough time. It's a tough time.
Absolutely. In fact, what I'm hearing from most women, just in general, and women that I work with, is that they're already seeing symptoms by 35. That's not
Wow.
uncommon.
So early. So early. And it's hard. It is. We've been asking kind of what symptoms people are going through. And, we all know the basic ones, the brain fog and the weight gain and the sleepless nights and all that. And it's like the ones that some of these women are coming out with. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're saying they're itchy everywhere. That's one of them. They're losing their hair and then hair's growing everywhere else. Why?
Antisocial, that was a big one for me.
Oh, you just started to become an introvert just like
Yes,
out
and
of
I
nowhere.
never really was. I was always, I mean,
Mm.
a little bit, like most people, you need downtime. But I, in that period of time, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to go
Mhm.
anywhere. I did not want to socialize. I was so overwhelmed with
Mhm.
all the things that were going on. I just
Yep.
wanted to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was odd. That was a really odd time for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then so you had your startup company, right? Your tech company that you were doing, and then you completely just left that behind to move on with reclaiming people's lives and all of this stuff. Is that how that happened?
Yeah, I went through what I would call mental and physical burnout.
Yeah.
And I realized that, I'm not going to get out of this situation if I keep going the way that I'm going. So I need
Mm.
to take a very significant step back and kind of
Mhm.
reclaim myself, right? Come back to
Yeah.
myself. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. And in the process, this new company was formed, and it
Mhm.
was almost like a calling. It was almost like I didn't plan for it. It just kind of emerged and it
Mm.
revealed itself to me. And it was the most rewarding thing I've ever done. It's the most rewarding thing I
Wow.
still do. Just working with people on this particular path is
Yeah.
extremely, extremely humbling and
Yeah.
rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long ago was it that you started that? When did you start that? Do you
So
remember?
it's going to be 3 years old in March.
Okay. Okay, that's exciting. And is that when you started working on the weight loss transformation that you
No, I
did?
started my own weight loss, 37. Lots
Okay.
of trial and error. Yeah, so I'm going to be 50 next year. So
Oh, good for
it's
you. Yeah,
been
yeah.
quite a while,
Yeah.
of while back, started a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Yes. So, okay, what was your first step in all of that to go? Because we know we have the fad diets and a lot of people doing all the GLP stuff, and you were like, "What? We need a lifestyle change here. It needs to be something that is a sustainable over time, right?" So, what was like your first steps with that?
Well, 12 years ago, there was no
Oh, there was
GLP,
no GLP.
right?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was barely even any HRT,
Oh, wow,
right? I
wow.
had never heard
Yep.
of HRT
Mm-hmm.
until maybe about 3 years ago. I would say HRT kind of came to the forefront of
Mm-hmm.
what we talked about in general. And then
Mm-hmm.
GLP is mostly this year that I've heard of.
Yeah.
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 So it was all trial and error, different
Yeah.
diets. It was all done through lifestyle.
Uh-huh.
That's all that there was available, and nutrition mostly, right?
Yeah, yeah. Is that what kind of clicked for you is like, okay, I just need to be in the gym doing my workouts and eating healthy. Like it is the things that we all keep saying over and over again. Nobody wants to face that that is the way to do it to change your lifestyle. But is that what you kind of recognize these fad diets are not really working? It is just these main things that are going to make it happen.
Exactly. So over lots of trial and error, I
Mhm.
finally it was revealed to me that the key to having the body composition, because
Mhm.
weight loss is not enough, right?
Yeah.
You can lose weight and you can still be
Mhm.
unhappy with what you look like. And
Mhm.
so that it was revealed to me that the key to what I was actually looking for in terms of what I wanted to look like, what made me happy, was
Mhm.
eating sufficient amounts of protein,
Mhm.
lifting weights, right? So it wasn't just
Okay.
cardio and very low calories. It was quite a significant amount of protein, resistance training, and staying consistent day in and day
Mhm.
out that produced the result that I was looking for. Because I didn't want to
Mhm.
be skinny fat and I didn't want to be
Okay.
overweight. I didn't want to, and I still have loose skin in some places, right? But I
Okay.
didn't want to
Yeah.
have so much loose skin from being significantly overweight. I'm 5'3". I was 210 pounds.
Oh
So
my
there's
goodness.
loose
Yeah.
skin,
Yeah.
right? But it's not
Mm.
as pronounced as if I didn't have any muscle mass.
Mhm. Wow. So what is like a good routine for people that are wanting to get started in that? Like I've heard, I feel like so many different stories on how much time we should spend in the gym. Some are like, if you do 15 minutes a day, you can get where you need. Some are like, you got to spend hours. What do you think on that in the gym? We start with that.
So it depends on your goals, right?
Okay.
So let's and goals from where I'm at right now, they're periodized. So there's
Okay.
some parts of the year where I spend actively and intentionally looking to gain weight in order to
Mm-hmm.
build lean muscle mass. And then there are periods of, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years where I'm just in maintenance. I'm just looking to stay the very
Yeah.
same weight. And
Mm-hmm.
now currently I'm in a fat loss state, right? So currently I'm in a cut, which means I'm
Okay.
looking to bring down body fat to reveal the muscle that's underneath that I've worked
Okay.
for all these years, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
looking to do a cut, that's going to have a very different approach and a different strategy than if I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking to gain muscle mass, right? So if I'm looking to do a
Mm-hmm.
cut, my resistance training is not going to change. And most of my resistance training, weightlifting sessions are about an hour
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, can you start with less? Yes, you could probably start with about 30 minutes. You can start with 15
Yeah.
minutes, and then you can incrementally keep increasing as you get fitter and fitter. But,
Mm-hmm.
I and my clients currently are at about an hour. And then the
Okay.
thing that does change is usually cardio, right? So depending
Okay.
on the phase that I'm in, if I'm looking to cut body fat, my cardio will start going up. If I'm in
Okay.
maintenance, I'm going to just be doing cardio maybe 15 minutes every day for heart health, for cardiovascular health, things like that. It's not really for weight loss. We don't exercise to lose weight.
Yeah. So if you're doing the cardio for fat loss, what is that, like 45 minutes? Is there kind of a good time frame on that, or can you do less?
Yeah,
I know
so it
people that don't want
depends.
to do too much.
Depends, right? So
Yeah.
the nutrition is where you're going to see the most impact from when you're
Mm,
looking to cut body fat. Cardio just helps you expend more energy, or
mm,
you could do walking as well. You could do steps, and so it really
yeah.
depends, right?
Okay.
When at the end of the week you have not, let's say, met the goal that you're looking to see on the scale. Like, let's say
Mm-hmm.
I was aiming at losing 1 pound of, what weight, whatever, uh,
Mm-hmm.
per week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only doing 15 minutes of cardio. My nutrition was on point. Everything was on point. And I did not want to, and I didn't meet that goal, right? So I
Yep.
only dropped, let's say, 0.2 pounds. That means I wasn't in a
Mm-hmm.
big enough deficit. So I would have two choices. I either cut down my food intake, or I increase my expenditure, whether that's walking or cardio or whatever, swimming or rowing or whatever it is. Those are the levers that I would be able to manipulate, either cut down the
Mm-hmm.
food, which I very rarely like to do, my activity level.
Okay. What does like a normal, can you give us like a normal day of like your nutrition when you're trying to lose body fat? Are you fasting at all, doing the intermittent fasting, or is this like you're hitting each meal time throughout the day?
So I eat 5 times a day, and
Okay.
I don't necessarily do. I don't do like an official intermittent fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are
Mm-hmm.
different types of intermittent fasting that you could do. So let's say I start my first meal at 9 a.m. and I finish my last meal at 6 p.m. or 7
Mm-hmm.
p.m.
Mm-hmm.
That would be considered a mini fast, right? Between 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and 9 a.m., because that's a 14-hour fast technically. So yeah, there is a little bit of that in there, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't, wait until 2 p.m. to eat. So my first
Okay.
meal is usually a coffee
Mm-hmm.
with cream, milk. Then I'll have a yogurt parfait with that, and that's one meal. So the
Okay.
yogurt parfait has a little bit of protein powder, blueberries, pecans. I sprinkle a little bit of salt on there, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's my first breakfast. My second
Okay.
breakfast on a cut is egg whites. I have about 7 egg whites and one yolk with some
Mm-hmm.
type of toast and some type of vegetable. So that could be, anything: spinach, tomatoes, broccoli, zucchini, kind of like an omelet in a sense.
Okay.
And then my first lunch is some type of a salad with some type of a lean protein. So that could be, almost like a burrito bowl without the
Mm.
tortilla. It could be lean 96% ground turkey, 99% ground turkey, 96% ground beef. It could be shrimp. It could be
Mm-hmm.
chicken breast. It could be, you know, some type of a lean protein.
And that's
Then
on salad, not like rice. Okay,
it's on
rice, right?
salad. You could
Okay.
add rice
Mm-hmm.
if you have the macros for it, right? So,
Okay.
or if it's a pre-workout or a post-workout, you can always add starch. That's usually where I would put the starch into my day, is
Mm.
before or after a workout. So the toast with the egg whites is considered starchy. A starchy carb usually comes in before the workout, and after the workout, you can add a sweet potato into the salad. That's
Mm-hmm.
starch. You can add regular potatoes. You can add toast, pasta, quinoa, whatever type you
Okay.
prefer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth meal is usually some type of a snack. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
like a protein brownie, or, a Ninja creamy ice cream, or,
Yeah.
something fun. And
Yeah.
then dinner, again, it's very similar to the lunch. So lean protein, it could be, white fish, any type of white fish is lean protein, shrimp, lobster,
Mm-hmm.
filet mignon with whatever type of vegetable on the
Mm.
side.
And then nothing after. What's like the latest that you'll eat?
It varies. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say I'm that strict with that, because sometimes I will
Yeah.
have my last meal at like 8 o'clock and I'm not in bed till 11. Just depends
Yeah.
on where I'm going, if I'm out somewhere, whatever it is. I'm not that big on a certain cutoff, because I don't
Yeah.
technically do intermittent fasting, but I try, because I have
Mm-hmm.
noticed I sleep better.
Oh, when you stop eating earlier, you sleep a little better.
Mhm.
Hmm. That's good to know for people out there maybe trying that. That's interesting. So, you talk a lot about primary versus secondary foods and emotional eating. A lot of people do that, especially now. I think it's just so hard, mainly since COVID. I think a lot of people went through that with COVID, of course, tough times in eating. But still, we are trying to make this comeback. Everything is crazy in the world right now, everything's expensive. So, there probably is a lot of emotional eating. So, can you kind of explain how that plays out? Like what you would do, or really what is primary versus secondary foods to start with? What would you say those are?
So that's a great question, because most people will probably get this one wrong, because I know I used to get that wrong. I
Uh
was
huh.
really quite taken back that, like, when you say primary food,
Yeah.
I when I first learned about this, I thought that had to be physical, like food that we eat and we put in our mouth, but that's not the case.
Really?
Primary food is actually emotions that feed our soul. Your
Oh my
emotional
goodness.
food, yes. So things like joy, happiness, feeling appreciated,
Hmm.
gratitude, even sadness, even that's a primary food
Yeah.
that we consume energetically, right? And
Mm.
secondary foods are actual physical foods that we eat, like apples and bananas and chicken and eggs and things like that.
Yeah. Wow, I would not have known that. That's interesting. So you're kind of so you're mixing them, or you're looking at that first. If you're doing emotional eating, you kind of want to make sure you are feeding your body with the primary foods of things that'll
Right.
make you happier, make you have more energy, enjoy doing things. And then then you would consider doing those at the same time, so then you're feeding secondary foods along with whatever it is you're doing for your primary. Is that how that goes?
Well, emotional eaters are usually using food as a coping mechanism, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily physically hungry when there's a binging pattern or a binging episode, for example.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily triggered because they are physically hungry. And so
Mhm.
the question is, if you're looking to manage emotional eating, or you're starting the process of being aware that that's a pattern that you're participating in, the first thing
Mhm.
is, ask when you have that urge, when you have the, and it's very, very specific, right? So when you start feeling like you're about to have an emotional binging episode, it's not like normal hunger. It comes on very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very urgent, and there's no physical reason. Like, you could have just had a dinner,
Yeah.
right? You could be,
Yeah.
you could feel like 5 minutes ago, you could have felt like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anymore. But then all of a sudden, a gallon of ice cream is gone, right? And so
Yep.
it feels urgent. It feels like there's an emergency. Your nervous system is essentially on fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in
Mm-hmm.
fight or flight mode. And so
Mm-hmm.
when that happens, the first thing is, to start becoming more aware of this particular pattern, or this, it's a habit really, that the brain is wired to use food as a way to bring the emergency level down, right? So the
Okay.
question is, am I physically hungry? Right? And just
Mm.
slowly start becoming more aware of, where is this urge coming from? Am I physically
Yeah.
hungry? Did I eat enough food today? Right? Because there's
Mm.
also the other side of it, where a lot of us are conditioned not to eat all day because we're always on
Yep.
diets. And so we eat very little all day. And then we have, a window of binging between, 6 to 10 p.m.
Yep.
because we're actually physically hungry.
Yes.
Right? But if
Yeah.
you have been eating well throughout the day, and you have been nourishing your body properly throughout the day, and having 3 or 4 meals, small meals throughout the day, and then you notice that there is still that binging, and it's very specific foods, right? It's not,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're not going to emotionally binge on broccoli. It's
Right.
usually going to be
The
something that
good
it's
stuff.
not in your goal, right? Or something
Yeah.
that's going
Yeah.
to take you out of your goal, whatever
Yeah.
that may be. And so, once you start noticing these things and start asking questions, and, am I physically hungry? Did I eat enough nutritious food today? Or is this an emotional binging cycle?
Mm. So I like that because it's just you got to be aware of what's going on with you if you want to make these changes. So you got to implement asking yourself the questions. Am I hungry? Is this just a moment that I'm having, right? And can I get past this? And probably things like even going to the grocery store when you're hungry, going to a party. And, I've read that a lot, to like make sure you eat before you go to the grocery store, or when you go to a party, have some snacks so you're not just eating everything in sight because you're so hungry at that time. There's something like smart ideas, I'd say.
Exactly. Prepare in advance. Yes.
Prepare. Okay, so talking about preparing, because you are a busy entrepreneur, you're a mother, like how do you fit everything in? People that are listening that are going, I want to do this, but I don't have time to go to the gym for an hour every day and then work on every single bit of food and be watching my macros and my calories and all of that stuff. How do you do it to make it sound easier for them? Let's make it sound easy. What do you
Well,
got?
first you have to decide, right? And so
I
there
bet
are
you want
times
it.
in our lives when this can't be your priority, right? And one of those
Mm-hmm.
times is, I'm going to speak from firsthand experience. When you're pregnant, or when you just had a baby, that might not be
Mm,
the right time to implement these things into your schedule and into your lifestyle.
yeah. Yeah.
You have to have the freedom, a little bit of freedom, at least an
Mm-hmm.
hour and a half every day, to be able to commit to these things,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't necessarily want to commit to something and then feel even more overwhelmed, overstressed. There are just times when it might not be the right time to start,
Yeah.
right? Because starting is where you have the biggest learning curve in the very
Mm-hmm.
beginning. And so pick a
Mm-hmm.
really good time where it's more opportune for you to implement some new habits, where you do have a little bit of leeway. And
Yeah.
the first thing would be, you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to drive to the gym, drive back. You can start from home. So you can
Mm.
do dumbbell and resistance band workouts from home.
Mm-hmm.
You can start with prepping maybe just lean protein in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to have all of it figured out, but at least being a little bit more mindful and more aware of at least the protein aspect of it, right? So just
Yeah.
making sure that maybe you have, maybe you do like a bulk prep on Sunday, where you
Yeah.
have some ground beef, some ground turkey, some chicken, barbecue the chicken, and then put it in the fridge. And that way you can bring at least your lunch to work, or you have some
Yeah.
protein for dinner ready to go. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It actually saves time in the
Yeah.
long run, and it saves money as well, because then you don't order out as much, you don't go out as
Yeah.
much because you have your food. Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Terry, because I remember, when I would try to, when I was going through a time when I was really working hard on this stuff, same thing. And I just found like the meal prepping or having something pre-made in the fridge made such a difference, because your mind immediately goes, I don't want to make something. I don't want to do this. And then I know for me, I'm like, ooh, chicken wings would be yummy, or, something that's just like easy and close, and I can just go grab that. And it's funny how it changes things when you have the food right there and you see it. You're kind of like, yeah, but it's right here. I could just do this right now. And so quite often that would help me kind of get back into it. So I like that idea of kind of prepping for it. So your brand, Thor, what does Thor stand for? It's an acronym, right?
The House of Rose.
Ooh, okay. So what's that all about? Tell us about that.
Yes, so the House of Rose is a retreats and coaching company. We do
Mm-hmm.
retreats from February until October in the Smoky Mountains. It's women's yoga retreats, Pilates retreats, strength training. We do hikes out in nature. We eat nutritious food that are very macro friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and we connect with each other and we learn about each other. We have
Yeah.
sort of a community built around that. And then,
Mm-hmm.
there's also a coaching community where women that are learning how to live this lifestyle are a part of it.
Wow. And so this is for women over 40, right? That's where
Yes.
you kind of put your focus. And so when they do a retreat, so how long is like a standard retreat? Is there different times or lengths, or how's that work?
Yeah, so the most popular one is the 5 days. So
Okay.
we arrive on Wednesday and we leave on Sunday.
Okay. And so then everything is pre-planned, what they're going to do the whole time, right? And
Exactly.
is somebody like working with them? So because I'm assuming people are coming that could just this could be the first step they're taking to getting their health and their vitality back. So is there someone there that is with them from the moment they get to the retreat, that they're like, "Hey, let me walk you through this. Let me help you get to the finish line here in the 5 days." Is that how it
That's
works?
right.
Or
Yes. So I am
yeah.
here the entire time. And
Okay.
then we also have our yoga teacher, we have our spa therapist, we have
Mm-hmm.
our chef, we have everyone that's involved with
Mm-hmm.
the retreats as well. But I am there 24/7.
Okay, that's good. So you get to go on a lot of nice little vacations, right? And how
I
many do
love
you
it.
do? It's so fun. How many do you do in between that period of February to October?
Normally we do about one a month, but
Okay.
last year they got fully booked out. Everything got sold out, so I ended up adding a couple extra dates. Next year
Yeah.
we're actually doing one that's international. We're doing it in April and in September. It's going to be in the south of
Mm.
France in the Champagne region,
Ooh.
and then one in June in Sedona, Arizona, and then all the rest of
Okay.
them are in the Smoky Mountains.
Wow. So it becomes almost like a little vacation mixed in with a jump start for your new life, right?
That's
Is that how we
right.
were?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. And are they affordable? Like, for people that are like, "Ugh, I could never afford to do that. Is there different price ranges, or is there accommodations or options to help people afford this?
Yeah, so we have double occupancy is at 1,500, and then single
Mm-hmm.
occupancy is at 3,000 for a single room with a single bed bathroom. But the doubles are
Yeah.
1,500 with a two beds and a single bathroom. Mhm.
And do you have to find somebody to be your double, or you put two people together?
Yeah, we can put two people together, or you can bring someone that you can come together with
Yeah.
somebody, or you can come on your own, and then we pair you with
Mm-hmm.
someone else who's also looking for a double.
Okay. And so I'm trying to get all the goods on here for the listeners. That's like the accommodations, and that includes your activities, includes your food.
Everything.
in
It's
that?
completely
Everything.
inclusive. Yes.
But
Yeah.
not, but airfare is outside of that?
Airfares
Or,
outside of that. That's right.
okay. Okay. All right. That's good. I think that's pretty reasonable. That's for like the 5 day, the 1500 for a
Yes.
5 day.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
reasonable. That is. That's really nice. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that. We were talking a little bit about menopause before. So, uh, hormones and thyroid help and adrenal support, these things are often very intimidating to women that are entering into menopause, perimenopause. What is one thing that you wish every woman knew about their body during this phase? Give them some
Mm.
light here.
Well, I something that I think gets overlooked quite a bit is the nutritional aspect to
Mm,
adrenal and hormonal support,
mm-hmm.
and eating things like a lot of broccoli, a lot of cauliflower. Sweet potato is a precursor to progesterone. Brussels sprouts,
Mm.
really, really great for adrenal and hormonal support. And yeah, believe it or not, right? And so a lot of
even
us are
the
lacking.
Brussels sprouts, even the Brussels sprouts that are mixed in with like the balsamic and the bacon and that, or we have to go clean just Brussels sprouts. So I know people like to go, I love
Brussels
Brussels
sprouts,
sprouts.
clean Brussels
Yeah.
sprouts. I mean, you can add bacon and stuff, but
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts are really great in salads. Just raw Brussels sprouts
Yeah.
mixed with a salad mix.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They taste
Yeah.
great.
I think it's funny how when we were younger, that was probably on our list. If somebody said like, "What vegetables don't you like?" We'd all be like, Brussels sprouts." And now it's like a staple on appetizers on every menu. It seems like they've made a comeback, but not in the healthiest way. I guess. I guess not. So you shifted from, so you did this whole tech start thing. That is so crazy. Like it just seems so opposite, but it also makes sense because you made the transition yourself. It's not like you were, in the best shape of your life and you're just like, oh, I'm in tech and I want to start doing this. It's because you had to go through that transformation yourself, right? That really got it started. Did you find that your tech experience kind of helped shape the life that you're leading now? I mean, did it help at all, or were you just brand new? Let me just do something totally new.
It's so funny because I say this all the time. So the way that my brain works is
Mm-hmm.
it troubleshoots, right? So I'm officially trained as a troubleshooter, right? So
Okay.
anytime if you're an engineer, you start tweaking things around, you're debugging things, you're looking for where's the issue in the code, right? Where did I get this part
Mm-hmm.
wrong? And
Yes.
which part is it again? Let me turn this on and turn this off and see if it's going to fix the problem. And so
Yeah.
the way of thinking is very similar in
Mm-hmm.
wellness, right? So when you are looking to optimally, right,
Mm-hmm.
design a wellness program, you need to be able to kind of turn things on and off, tweak things, increase this here, decrease that there, and just
Yeah.
see. It's very complex, right? And we
Yeah.
don't really have the answers. Anybody that tells you they have the answers and they know what the F is going on is completely
Yeah.
full of
Yeah.
full of it, right? And so you
Yeah.
have to kind of be able to accept the fact that you just don't know. You don't know
Yeah.
really anything. You think you know these things, but you always need to be open to a different perspective or a different outcome or a different point of view in order to
Mm-hmm.
see like, okay, let me try this way, let me try that way. So that
Yeah.
type of framework is actually very helpful with what I
Yeah.
do now. And then everything else, like the actual information and the education, I went and I got certified as a trainer. I
Mm-hmm.
received a lifestyle medicine coach. I took a class in Harvard Medical School for that. It was about a 10-month course. I've done
Mm-hmm.
hormone specialist education. I've done a
Mm.
whole bunch of things. So it's like a continuous learning,
Yeah.
constantly, just like in tech. You can't really ever stop because things change so quickly. But the same
Yeah.
thing in wellness. And so I really enjoy that a lot more because it has a bigger impact on people. And I feel
Yes.
like, there's a real tangible benefit to
Hmm.
troubleshooting your wellness state for yourself, first of all, to
Mm,
be able to understand that, and then to be able to share that with other people, as opposed to when I was in tech, it was a very different outcome, right? It's rewarding, but it's a very
mm.
different outcome.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you're doing this for people because it's so hard these days. I think we're all really lost. And like I said, talking about, the perimenopause and menopause, that alone, we're just our hands are flailing for help. And then I think all of these symptoms coming on top of, regular stuff that people are going through. They just need a place to go. So if a woman was listening right now and she felt like just stuck or depleted or unseen and she's ready for a change, like what's the one thing you would say, start this coming week, this is what I need you to do? What would be your first step?
Well, first step is decide.
Mm,
Decide that you're going to commit,
yeah.
and then you're going to devote the necessary attention and make yourself a priority. So
Hmm.
audit your lifestyle, right? Where can you say no that you've been saying
Yep.
yes because you feel obligated and you're getting your time sucked away from you?
Yeah.
Get really stingy with your time
Hmm.
and be like, okay, so I've been doing these things, but I need to find an hour and a half every day.
Hmm.
So what can I reprioritize? Right. And
Mm,
then
yeah.
look at how you're spending your time. So audit everything, audit what you're
Yeah.
eating, right? So audit your nutrition and figure out, where are you at right now? Are you consuming 2,000 calories, 3,000, 4,000? Find your
Mm,
benchmark here. And, you do that through tracking, obviously. And then
hmm.
once you have a good handle on where you're at, and that's
Yeah.
so important, to accept where we're at, right?
Okay, I
To
like
be
that.
okay with what things are like right now,
Hmm.
and not worry about, well, I used to be this and that 20 years ago, and I feel so bad about myself now. Forget about
Yeah.
all that, right?
Yeah.
So be okay with where things are at right now. Be honest, radically honest with yourself about
Hmm.
how things are right now, and then take one tiny little step forward
Hmm.
every single day, and
Yeah.
pat yourself on the back for that. Because this is
Yeah.
really hard. This is very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, we get
And
discouraged very easily.
yes, and just keep moving like that, day in
Hmm.
and day out, and you will see results.
Yeah. Do you believe the scale is your friend or no? Are we getting rid of the scale or do we still continue to weigh in when we
No, the
really need
scale
to?
is great. I think the
Hmm.
scale gives one piece of the puzzle,
Hmm.
but you want to pair the scale with a measuring tape,
Yeah.
right? So you want to see your
Yes.
inches.
Yeah, because we
Yeah,
tend to forget about that. I think we just go off of the scale and we get frustrated, and that could just be water weight or, something. It fluctuates so much. So take into account the inches too. Plus, if you are doing weightlifting, you're gaining a little bit of muscle. So that's going to outweigh that too, right?
absolutely. So the scale
Yeah.
doesn't really know the difference between your digestive system, like did you go
Hmm.
today or not, right? It doesn't know the
Yeah.
difference between water. Did you drink a
Yeah.
little less yesterday and you drank a little more today? So there's going to be fluctuation. It doesn't know anything about inflammation. So if you
Hmm.
lifted really heavy yesterday, the next day you're going to be inflamed. Your muscles are going
Yeah.
to be sore. There's going to be a lot of lactate in your muscle tissue repairing and doing its job. If you didn't sleep
Hmm.
well the night
Yeah.
before, your weight's going to go up. Right. If
Yeah.
you had more carbs than usual, which is fine, the day before, your
Hmm.
weight's going to be up as well. And so there's a lot
Hmm.
of fluctuation on the scale, but overall, over a trending period of time, if you're looking to drop weight or gain weight, you want to see
Mm-hmm.
the trend on average heading in the right direction paired with the measurements, right? So you want to measure your bust, your waist, your hips, and your thigh in the widest section. And once you
Okay.
start seeing those metrics and which way they're trending, it's going to give you an indication. So let's say, for example, your body weight stayed the same on the scale, but your
Mm-hmm.
measurements went down. So what that tells me is that you have dropped body fat, and
Mm-hmm.
most likely you have increased a little bit of muscle mass, or you
Yeah.
have, you're retaining water for whatever reason, right? But
Yeah.
you are dropping body fat because your metrics have gone down.
Have come down. So we can't get discouraged. Such great information that you're giving to us, and I love that we're giving them, something tangible to leave here today and kind of know, okay, this could be my first step to something. So before you go, I like to play a little rapid fire. It's just a fun little 10 questions, kind of in maybe a little bit in the area that you do. So I'm just going to throw 10 questions at you, and you just tell me whatever comes to mind first. Okay, what's one red flag that used to turn you on, but now you'd run from?
A big ego.
That's so true. We used to like, oh, we kind of like that. Now we don't anymore. What's your secret ick that could instantly just kill attraction for you at someone?
Um, Well, the obvious, I guess, like being rude or cranky or
Yeah,
negative, or just negative talk,
yeah, I like that.
complaining.
Yeah, we don't like that. If you had to give up one thing forever, either love, chocolate, or your phone, which one are you giving up?
Chocolate.
You would, yeah,
I give it
chocolate.
up. I'll
You
keep my phone and
would.
I'll take the love.
I like that. What's one thing people assume about you that they'd be totally wrong about?
I assume that about myself too, that I really want to be a like go-getter female, kind of like,
Mm-hmm. Boss
businesswoman.
babe. Yeah.
No, I hate that. I hate boss babe. I don't want to be a boss to anybody. I don't like leave me alone.
Uh-huh.
I would have, I didn't live that life, but I would have loved to have been the barefoot and pregnant type
Ah,
and
yeah.
just taking care of my kids and my house and
Yeah.
myself, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of
Yeah.
been like like a real mom.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. I was a real mom, but I
Yeah.
did a lot of other things. I suffered a lot. And
Hmm.
so a lot of people think that, I'm all about empowerment in the professional sense, but I'm more
Yeah.
about empowerment in the feminine sense.
Oh, okay. That was a great answer. One phrase you wish people would retire when it comes to health and working out, something that they are always just saying, and you're like, ugh, get rid of that.
I need to lose weight. I
Mm,
want to be skinny.
yeah.
I'm too
We always
fat.
think about what I know. And I think we always think about like what we used to look like or something. But, there's times when if we go forward and we're gaining again, we would look back right now and go, I wish I looked like that. I think we just need to become more okay with where we're at sometimes. What's your guilty pleasure TV show that you totally can't live without?
Outlander.
Really? I've not seen that. Is it great?
Jamie Fraser anytime.
That's funny. If you could describe yourself in one word, what would you say?
Mm, oh my gosh, one word. Um, Content.
Good one. That's nice to feel that way. One song that instantly changes your mood, good or bad.
I want to know what love is by Foreigner.
Yeah, that's a good one. You came up with that one quick. That must be a fave. Uh,
That's my song.
that's your jam. Last question. What's one non-negotiable you live by now that the younger you would have rolled your eyes at?
Definitely strength training. Definitely embracing my muscular quads.
Hmm. Interesting.
I
When
love
we're
muscles.
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to ask you something on that. When we are doing strength training and you're doing I can't think of the word, repetitions, what's that called? When you're doing, I think it's repetitions, right?
Mhm.
Are you starting with your heaviest weight first and then you're decreasing as maybe you get to the third repetition if you're running low on energy or, the strength? Is that how you do it, or do you start lower and go higher?
So it depends, right? So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
nuance here. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say that I am in a hypertrophy block, meaning that the purpose of the 4 weeks or 6 weeks or however long I'm running that block is to get
Mm-hmm.
stronger and to build lean muscle mass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Depends
Okay.
also on what the exercise is. Let's say it's a compound move. Let's say it's a squat, and I'm looking to
Mm-hmm.
build more strength in the squat. The way that I would
Mm-hmm.
start a squat is I start with just the barbell. So I will start with
Oh.
or even body weight, right? So I'm going to warm up
Mm-hmm.
with just body weight. I'm going to get my form in line. Then I'm going to add the barbell. I'm going to do 2-3 reps. Then I'm going to add a little bit of weight. I'm going to do 2-3 reps and up to 20 reps of warm ups until I
Okay.
get to what's called my working set, my working weight. My working weight is based on what I did the week before. So let's say last week I did 135 pounds
Mm-hmm.
on the squat. This week I'll be looking to add 5 pounds to that. So I'll be looking to hit 140 pounds for my working set. I might have three
Okay.
sets, I might have 4 sets. It really depends on the block, what the block looks like. But I'll be
Mm-hmm.
looking to add 5 pounds to the week before. And that's what's considered progressive overload for the same exact exercise. Did that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So you're just kind of building up to it with the warm up. You're kind of getting your body warm and ready and acclimated to what you're about to do. And then you're increasing it per week to kind of build your muscle a little bit more each time. And it's usually
That's right.
like 3 reps. 3 reps is pretty standard per exercise.
For the warm ups,
No, just for regular work set.
oh, depends. So in a hypertrophy phase, I would probably not have more than 6 reps. But if it's a
Okay.
regular phase, I might be in maintenance. It would be
Uh-huh.
10 reps in a set, right? And it really depends the way that the program is designed. There's
Hmm.
always intention behind each program, or there should be. It shouldn't just be random. Like you shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing random programs every month for whatever reason. You should know why you're doing a certain program and what is the goal and the intention behind each one if you have a coach,
Hmm.
right? And so that's
Okay.
what I do with my clients. I create the program specifically with an end goal in mind, and it
Hmm.
depends on where, what the intention is. So let's say somebody just starts out, I wouldn't have them in a
Hmm.
hypertrophy phase because they have to build a foundation first, right? So they have to build a
Okay.
foundation. They work on that for about 4 to 6 weeks. Then the next block would be unilateral movements because we want to have a balance between the left and right side. We don't want to have
Hmm.
energy leaking, um, in either side. Because let's say you're doing a deadlift and your left side, your left leg is weaker than your right leg, you're going to
Yeah.
overcompensate with the right, and then you're going to twist your spine in different direction because your body's trying to regulate it, right? And so
Yeah.
we want to
Yeah.
work on that on a unilateral sense to find where the energy leaks are. And then maybe month 5 or 6, you'll be in a hypertrophy phase where you'll have 3 reps only, right? So
Okay.
if you're
Yep.
if your program says 3 reps in your set, what that indicates is that you're going as heavy as you can go, basically, right? Because you
Okay.
only have
Yep.
3 reps in the set. If you
Yeah.
have 12 reps in the set, you're not going to put as much weight on the bar as when you have
Yeah.
only
Because you can't
three
do it.
reps, right?
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
But the
I think
warm
that
up
was
is the
good.
same,
Yeah.
right? You have
Oh,
the same
okay.
amount of warming up. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Got it. Got it. Okay. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You
Social
can
media,
find me
website.
on Yeah, you can find me on thehouseofrose.com. There's the retreats are on there, coaching is on there, and you can find me on Instagram. How good
Hmm.
can it get?
I like that. Thank you for joining me, Terry. I love that. And to the listeners out there, thank you for joining us this week. You can find me on any major streaming platform to listen to this episode and many others. And the video will be up on YouTube. And you can find me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at from.mrs.2.ms. And you can email me with any questions at Andrea at from Ms.2ms.com. All right. Thank you, Terry, for joining us. And you guys listening, have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.